Streaming, I just pressed it. And I believe we are live, everybody. I got my Facebook stuff popping up, and that's just part of reality. And I'm hitting our record button. Okay, welcome everybody. First off, can anybody who's out there just indicate, put something in the chat to tell us that you're there and you can hear us all, and say hi, Dale and Nico, just so our voices are checked here. Hi, Dale.
What's shaking? Yeah.
Nico?
Hello.
Let's hear Nico speak.
Hi, guys.
All right. So Nico,
do you hear me? Okay, perfect.
Everyone can hear us?
I'm good on my end.
Awesome.
I can definitely hear. So hopefully anybody that's catching us live will be able to give us a little bit of feedback.
Yeah. Okay. Any feedback there, Nico? That everything's all clear sound-wise?
I don't see the live stream yet on YouTube.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we're live.
Woo! All right, let's get crazy, guys. Who brought the drinks?
Okay. Well, it would
Cheers.
be good.
Can you just post me the link again, and then let's get started?
Yeah, I'm looking to see myself. I don't see the stream. Do you see it, Nico?
No. Is it on private, maybe?
Oh, it
Still?
is. Oh my God! Thank you.
Whoops.
Way to go, Nico. Nico's got.
No wonder no one was answering. They were probably just like.
Hey, here we go. I'm pressing it public. I can just switch it to public. You'll confirm.
Yay.
Okay, we should be public now. Let's see if the live stream's there, or do I have to start it over? Yes, we're here. We're live.
Yeah, I can see us.
All right. Woo! Now we're public.
Now we are.
Awesome.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry, we're a tad late. The live stream was actually in private mode, so we were going to have a private conversation, and we changed our minds.
Yeah.
Here we are. So I'd like to share with everyone, yesterday I got very inspired and reached out to these guys, Dale Roberts and Nico Kamenzky, to do an interesting discussion today about getting ready for YouTube challenges. And as we know, August has a few interesting challenges out there by a few different people. Like we know there's a YouTube challenge with Brian G. Johnson, and we know Lou Bortone is doing a Facebook challenge, and I'm sure there's others. And what I wanted to do was to go through a bit of Dale's journey, because Dale has done something what I consider to be crazy. I mean, I couldn't handle it, at least where I was at when I did my first 30-day challenge a year ago, May. And that was when I was just starting out and getting in front of a camera and getting all kind of squirrely with each experience. And, you know, I came a huge way in the month, and I did about, I don't know, near 20 videos when I did that last year. And it was an incredible growth experience. But what amazed me so much about Dale's story is that, you know, we're typically used to the concept of it's a 30-day challenge. So Dale on July 19th decides to decree to the Tube Ritual group that he's extending his 30-day challenge not to just 50 days. At first he thought he was going to do 50 days. Actually, I don't know how long that thought lasted before he upped it again. And then he said in that post, he's going till he gets 2,000 subscribers and publishing a video per day. And I like to see, look at him. He even looks a little crazy there, even just thinking about it now when he hears those words, you know. So I go, like, when I'm getting into the challenge, oh my God, how am I going to like make this happen for 30 days, and what rate am I going to be able to deliver? So first, before we go into the details, Dale, just, you know, we're each going to do a quick intro about ourselves. So Dale, you're first.
Okay. Oh, awesome, man. Just threw the
So
ball on over to me. I was just like, I
that's
was
right.
having fun just like hearing about this whole challenge and how insane I am.
Yeah.
I'm Dale L. Roberts. I am a self-published author. I've had numerous #1 bestsellers on the Amazon Marketplace, and not only Kindle, but in paperback as well. Um, I've been doing this business for just about 3 to 4 years. I've got my own site at selfpublishingwithdale.com that you can be able to reference any of the information. So rather than me spewing forth all the things that I do and all the perks, I just got to say that I started my YouTube journey about a year ago. And it was just to kind of go into it to where I was like, I know this information. I would love to put it out there because I enjoyed seeing other people's content. But the problem was it was a pain in the butt to me, and I didn't enjoy watching my own videos because they were boring. So that's where it kind of evolved to where it is today.
Okay.
So I don't want to go too far down the path because obviously we're going to talk a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit
we
more
got
about
lots
the
of
video
questions
challenge and
for
where
you,
we're at
Dale,
today.
to dig in.
Right.
And Nico, give us a little intro about yourself. You have your awesome company, Morning Fame, and I just love the product. So give us a little intro, please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, hi, I'm Nico. Yeah, I do a YouTube analytics tool, and yeah, my endeavor is really to take analytics and understand what you can learn from that for your channel, for growing your channel. And we will later also see that what Dale, what hits and misses he did in his challenge. It's really exciting to see.
Yes, and
I'm
I
looking
think
forward to that.
thank you, Nico and Dale, of course it's Gord here, and I have a YouTube channel where I teach video creators all kinds of skills, and I've got lots of tutorials on things like Camtasia and just general skills on how to be a good video creator and do the do the best you can. So what I'd like to do first is to mention to everybody, thank you whether you're here live or watching in a replay. We're also going to post down below some links about all of us and some of the challenges that we're aware of that are going on in the month of August. And I would like to, dig into the interview now and get into some questions for Dale. And Nico is going to be handling the feed and just queuing up questions so that we will discuss them a little later on. So feel free to put in anything you want, and most of all, which is very important because we're inspired to potentially do more of these in the future. Let us know your feedback about how you enjoyed learning about Dale's journey, and is this kind of format an interesting thing to do for learning about challenges or other things. So now we put Dale on the firing coals, but first I'd like to share a little information from this guy right here, who we all know and love, and our tube ritual leader. Oh my God. Okay, Nico, come on. All right. We were all prepared, Brian. So what I wanted to share was that in Brian's book, he talks about some tips and benefits of doing a 30-day challenge. And just before we hear how Dale's doing with these kind of things, I wanted to share a few of them with you. So number one, you want to focus on improving engagement with every video you upload. So with each time you publish, you're going to learn something. And, that's, a major key point. Next, publishing frequency, because that's a challenge in itself, right? Because as we do more, maybe we get more efficient and learn things. So that's a very important aspect of trying to challenge yourself with. Also, making new habits. Maybe you're going to learn things about your process that you wanted to improve, and how to refine things, whether it be pre-production or post-production. There's all kinds of things we can learn to do to bring efficiency into what we're doing. And so, in the end, we're actually learning about what works and what doesn't, and a lot of self-discovery along the way. And to me, that's the most amazing part about the challenge that I experienced. It wasn't just like listening to what a prescription is to do it. It's about, oh my God, how am I going to make this better? What do people think? What feedback am I getting? How am I editing? What can I do to improve on my, there's countless things to do. So now we're going to dive in, and I'm going to throw questions out to Dale, and Nico and I will follow up with other goodies as we go. So first off, I had here, what are you learning about your style in terms of your presentation style like I know you had produced a lot of videos before this challenge, but I think if you would have taken on the interest to produce a lot more and be this focused, some things had to change. So can you speak to that, like style, or did you change things?
Yeah, absolutely. I had to really rethink my approach if I was going to be doing something on a daily basis. And I think you and I had some private conversations, and even seeing some of Brian G. Johnson's videos and Nick Nemen's videos,
Right.
to where they say you really got to get an efficient process in place if you plan on doing frequent uploads.
Hmm.
So I really needed to kind of look at the model. The old model was these boring, dry videos where I would just ramble on for 15 minutes about a single subject I kind of cover in about 2 to 3 minutes. So I wasn't getting very much engagement on something like that. I had to kind of look at it from a perspective of what would I want to watch. And it
Hmm.
really struck a nerve when I was being kind of a jerk one day. I was really just upset. I was frustrated. I wasn't getting any subscribers. So
Right.
I literally just went into the thought of, I'm going to write a script. I'm going to follow that script, and I'm going to say all of the things that I just consider condemning the self-publishing business, and say it in
Oh, I see.
such a satirical way.
Right.
And when I did it, this is when it just catches fire. All of a sudden, I started getting tons of views, and people started sharing things. And I
Right.
go, oh, go figure. I get to act like a jerk, and people start paying attention to me. So that's where I had shifted my focus to this satirical comedy style thing. But the problem was, it was turning off a lot of people. It wasn't family friendly content. There was
Right.
no way I could ever monetize it on YouTube with the number of curse words I was putting on it, the number of foul things, the number of very politically incorrect jokes I was putting on there. Sure, that's great for locker room banter, but when it comes down to the end of the, at the end of the day,
Right.
I was offending more people than I was educating. And I wanted to educate people because that's what I got into, was to educate and to entertain at the very same time.
Yeah.
So
Can I ask
that's
a
why we're
question?
coming up.
Oh, sorry,
Please
because I
fire
wanted a
away.
question on that, because I loved the humorous Dale and all the antics and things that you were doing.
Yeah.
I just got a smile every time I watched. And it made me think about, this is, Dale's getting to be the artist that's inside him and be the fun creator that resonates with him. But your point where you're going with this is a very valid one, and I think it's a tough one for all of us to accept. Is that, are we just making the videos for
Yeah.
ourselves as an artistic expression, or are we actually trying to serve an audience? And that's where, you know, I know I go crazy if every once in a while I don't find a way to squeeze in some of the, artistic side of me. For me, fortunately, I get to go wacky with things like animations, which are overboard, but at times. But I can see that being like, I want to be more myself in some of these things, but I'm kind of managing that.
Yeah. That was my same issue. And on top of that, it was, man, it was tough. It was tough kind of, putting out comedic, funny type videos. And it was taking a lot longer for me to create these
Ah,
scripts.
right,
And I went into it with zero outline. I just had an idea and I would go with it. And here's the thing, is I preach within the self-publishing industry. If you're a writer, an outline is the best way to kind of frame your time and keep you on target. So you're talking about what needs to be talked out, instead of, going on and on about something that nobody really gives a crap about. Pardon me. Uh, it's truth.
right,
So that's where the shift kind of came to, where I needed to pick out holes in my efficiency process. Where was my workflow getting stopped up at? It was getting stopped up at every time I had to, my original videos, I was wearing a nice shirt and a tie and a vest.
right.
I had to take those, press it out, put it on, and then I would be sweating my tail off because I'm recording numerous videos at the same time. And sometimes I was going through costume changes, so it was different for every video. Now anymore, I just throw on a t-shirt, I get ready to go. The longest part of the process really it comes down to editing, and I'm already figuring out processes through that. So I was able to kind of discover my voice. And one of the best ways to kind of discover my voice was, first of all, what's the market looking for? So I looked at my self-publishing video content creator peers, saw what was successful for them, and tried to go back to the well for those. And some ideas worked and some didn't so much.
Okay.
But that's where I'm kind of discovering myself.
Exactly. And this brings me to my next question. When you're doing something like a 30-day challenge, when you're publishing so frequently, oftentimes some videos will get great traction and some won't, maybe for a little while. And I wonder, like, so how do you deal with sort of the blind faith aspect of publishing so frequently and knowing not everything's going to be a winner, although your subs and views may, you know, be continuing to grow up just strictly on the accumulated side of things? Like, have you had any like ups and downs? This gets to that whole, like, I'm looking at subs and views and wondering about the traction thing for now. You know, how do you deal with that, the comparison thing?
The going into this, the very first thing I said was, let's just focus on the quantity, putting it out. They may not be the greatest in quality, but if I can get the quantity part down, then I could kind of fine tune it as I went along. So as I become more efficient in my process, let's say I chop about, because I can edit 4 videos in 4 hours. So it's about 1 hour per video. So, and each one of them run about 5 to 7 minutes long. And, they're fairly, deep. But in any event, the more that if the efficient process, so if I cut off time in certain process, then I start to allocate it towards how can I refine that product? How can I be able to get keywords that are going to be making me more searchable? Because people are looking for it. It's just a case of being able to describe it to your audience in a way that they can actually find you.
Yes.
And that's where I was kind of doing it, because I always think of this is self-publishing business parallels the YouTube content creation so closely.
Yes.
And if you can kind of provide your audience with what they're looking for and say it in a way that they are looking for it, you got yourself a winner. And that's where I'm finding that real good flow.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was publishing my book and you were helping me out there, and I go, oh, this is exactly like YouTube. We're trying to get categories or ways, keyword terms, and finding the groups to put them under for likelihood of being found, etc. And I thought that was very, very, very interesting. So
I'm a keyword nerd, man. Love me some keywords.
Yeah.
Sounds really like getting to understand the algorithm from YouTube as well on the Kindle platform and so on. Very interesting.
Yeah, and they literally almost parallel in so many aspects. But the only difference is, at least on YouTube, you can actually measure your effectiveness outside of because Kindle, you sell a book. That's the only way to really measure it. Or if you run ads, and then there's even then. But at least you're able to see watch time. So that means how many people are getting on your landing page, how many people are consuming your product. That's where I enjoy YouTube more, because I almost feel it I identify with it with my type A personality.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. More analytics, the better, right?
Right. That's where when I looked at your morning fame, I looked at that. I was like, oh my gosh, this makes this like stupid easy. And it had cute little cartoon icons. And I was like, when I saw things like medals and trophies, I was like, I am a winner, damn it.
See, as long as we can make our experience like a game, we're happier one way or another. So
exactly, yeah.
So Dale, how many days into your challenge now? You're beyond 30, right? How many is it?
Today's Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
That sounds great. Being an at-home entrepreneur, I'm telling you, man, you lose track of your days. Today would be day 37 straight.
So 37 straight. So how you've obviously, shared with your wife that you're going to be focused on this for, whatever it takes to get to your 2K subs. So given that you're publishing every day, and so how has this affected, your lifestyle or other things in life, your commitment to this, in terms of what has it taken away from, and do you deal with any challenges with that, just keeping it all going?
It really isn't as hard as you would think. I think that I've been in this game long enough that I know that I have to make certain sacrifices. But one thing I always value above all else is what I consider family. Family comes first. My wife and my cat come first. Everybody laughs when I say my cat. I sound like Kevin Spacey from Horrible Bosses. My cat. But it's true. Those come above all else, because here's the thing: is you never know if tomorrow's not going to come. So are you going to sit here and waste your time putting together a bunch of videos to put up online over spending time with your family?
Mm-hmm.
It's so important that you never lose sight of that. So I never sacrifice that. I will stay up long hours, but that's because she's already in bed, knocked out, and I'm kind of, okay, well, you know, I can stay up a little longer and I can kind of work on some of this YouTube content creation.
Okay,
But I like it. I enjoy it. Some people call that hustle. I consider it play. I consider it fun. So
right.
the
So that's a
sacrifices
good
are
point.
definitely there.
That's a great
Yeah.
point, because this is the thing that shocked me about your whole journey so far, is that you seem to be no less inspired from when you were, say, 20 days ago. You're just as excited and weird pop-ups on your screen. More excited. I mean, and that's
even
great.
more excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's actually just even Nico's tool was enough to kind of just put a little flame underneath me and make me kind of go, oh, okay, cool. I can kind of, you know, with YouTube analytics, it's really nerdy and sometimes it's a little bit inconvenient. I like to have things in an efficient way because then I can just boom. You know, some people will send me like, hey, read this blog article. And then within 2 minutes, I'm like, I'm done. And they're like, you didn't read it. And I was like, yeah, I just skimmed it. Because I don't have time to sit here and read small little tiny things. So that's one of the nice things about his plugin. And by the way, I'm not affiliated with Morning Fame here, folks. I'm not trying to sell you on it. I'm just telling you through my experience that I've, you know, used it over the last 24 hours. And I was like, man, this is kind of cool. It really is about efficiency, because the more I can kind of cut off and work time, the more time I can spend going on a vacation, spending time with my wife, traveling, doing whatever my lifestyle permits, because I'm not all about just work. I want to make sure that I can kind of live life a little bit.
Cool. So tell us, Dale, how have your video production skills evolved? You said now you're into like completing an editing process in an hour. So what have you refined in what you're doing and cut out or added, and how does it now work as like an assembly line without that diminishing your creative aspects into what you're creating?
Okay, I'm going to try to bullet point the best I can, because otherwise we'll spend the next 5 hours talking about the actual process.
Okay.
It starts out, first of all, I do the content research. I'll go into my peers' different YouTubes, and I have some favorites, and I will literally see what is working for them. And I will look in comments as well. I pay attention to comments and sometimes questions. And even within my own channel, I'll look at comments and I'll create videos based on some of those questions. So that is where it starts. And then I do a little bit of keyword research, because as soon as I figure out the keywords, I figure out a way that I can kind of incorporate that within my script, because then I'm saying those particular keywords. And that's why I try to be very articulate when I'm sharing some of my information, because I was uploading my scripts to do closed captioning, but it was becoming a real pain in the rear end. So that was another one. It was slowing down my process. I was taking time to do a SRT file through Camtasia, and I was like, oh, this is a waste, because it wasn't really improving my videos views. I was like, well, no sense in me doing it. We can just do auto captioning. So keywords, script. As soon as I do script, it's got to be 500 to 800 words, because if I'm going beyond 800 words, that thing's going to go past easily 7 to 10 minutes.
Right.
And I'm not about ready to edit a video that freaking long.
Right.
I go and I record all of it all in one shot. So that way it's like I'll get 4 videos, 8 videos, and then the other day I actually just did 12. Wow. Just 12 right in one shot. So that way it's just firing it off. And then I take each one of those, I open up Camtasia, and I drop down into a new canvas, 12 different canvases, and I'll go through each one of them, and I'll fix the audio, I'll fix the visual, I'll start to drop the common elements within them. Right. I rearrange them, and then I start to jump cut. And then as soon as I'm done jump cutting and everything else, bells and whistles, render, we're done, upload. And then the YouTube part of the uploading process is probably the most time consuming, because putting keywords in, thumbnail.
The SEO work.
Yeah, so that is the bullet point version. Sorry, that's all the time we have for today, folks. Thank you for Wait, this is your show.
So have you changed, though? Have you actually, you went through a detailed explanation of your process, and we appreciate that, but what have you actually changed to get to the efficiencies that you have now? So for example, you said you've now restricted your scripts to 500 to 800 words, so they were longer before. You'd mentioned things like
Yeah.
you used to have to like think in comedic terms to put all kinds of other stuff in there. So all of this stuff took extra time
Yeah.
and energy. How what have you
Yeah.
changed in your post production, in your editing process?
So the script portion, I just finally stopped getting it to where I was stopping up, and I think Gord, you can probably relate to this for a certain extent. Here is,
Yeah.
you know, you get writer's block. You start to look at a paper, and that paper just stays blank because you're kind of going, well, what should I say? How should I say it? Instead of doing it, I think of it as a conversation. If I were having a conversation with you, Gord, and actually that's a great example. I sometimes think of, you know, the newbie self-publisher and how I would speak to them. Because the veteran self-publisher is a little bit more forgiving. If they're listening to a video, they're like, oh, I already know that. They'll probably skip forward to the content that they want. But I just try to think of a way that I can be able to kind of get it down in the most basic terms, 500 to 800 words. Originally, I was just going blind. But in the more recent change over the last month and a half, I really had to abbreviate everything, because then less script time, less recording time, less editing time. So across the board, it really killed things. Here's the one really cool one. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Gord. I killed my end screen. I used to have just essentially like a cold end screen. Now, when I say cold end screen, in other words, I was like, you know, thank you very much, bye. And it would have the goofy, you know, me flying without my pants suited like the picture, and the subscribe button and this. But the problem was most people were dropping off as soon as I was done talking. In fact, as soon as I say, that's all the time we have for today, I see this. It drops way down. Like, you know, if the very few people that hung in there were like, boom, they're not watching the end screen. They're like, oh, I already know it's there, so I'm not going to bother with it. So I changed it more recently to where instead of having it cold, I literally just took my picture and I just shrunk it down. And here's the thing is, taking that cold end screen off, another example of me not having to spend, say, an extra 5-6 minutes having to slip that in there and get it all refined and make sure everything's in place. Sure, it's a copy and paste, but, you know, now I don't have to do a single thing. I'm really kind of excited over the next week to see what the watch time retention is going to be, because I have my theory. My theory is some people are going to hang in there. And I discovered this through a channel called Wrestle Talk. Huge wrestling fan. Just going to say this right now. Love to watch Wrestle Talk. Ollie Davis hosts this show. He has hundreds of thousands of subscribers, millions of views. And this is something he does. I literally don't turn off until he's done, because he's still sharing information as he shrinks down into the one portion. And it has subscribe button, and then it has the video right here. And I was like, this man is a freaking genius. I was like, why didn't I do this in the first place? I'm like, because this is exactly it. If he were to kind of do something beyond that, I'm like, I'm already clicking off. I already know what you're giving me, but he's still giving me information, so I don't want to shut off. So that is the same theory I'm kind of going with.
That's a great.
We'll see how that goes. That's the one I'm most excited about on today's video chat, is to share that one.
That's excellent. That's very cool. So Nico, we just, as a check-in, how's the stream looking? Are there any participants, any questions yet that people want to share, or maybe they'll comment later in watching the replay? So
Dan was saying he's a night owl as well.
Yeah,
that's late night times working on the hobby, right?
Yeah, that's very true. Some people don't start their work till into the evening, right, because of other obligations and family, and that's pretty cool. So
I wonder about that, really. I mean, Dale, you probably do this full time the whole day, right?
Nope.
Because usually I know Dan does this in his spare time. He has a day job.
Yeah. No, I don't do this full time. Believe it or not, I probably put, if I were to say that I condense it all down, probably about 2 to 4 hours per day. Today's going to probably be a 4-hour day.
Okay.
I have to focus on the main business, and the main business that pays the bills right now is my self-publishing business. So if I were not to pay attention to that and neglect that, then I'm not going to pay rent. So that has to kind of be taken care of. So prior to us doing the video chat, I made sure to publish a book to about, I don't know, it was about 20 different platforms. And had a couple other things, communicated with my assistant about getting some stuff over onto the website, helping me out with an RSS feed here for the self-publishing channel. So yeah, you know, everything's kind of intermixed, but for the most part, the main business is the self-publishing one. I probably spend a great majority of my time, but now I've got such an efficient process with that. I can literally get most of my work done within 2 to 4 hours. So on an average day, I can work anywhere from about 1 to 8 hours.
So how do you?
Oh, that's efficient indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. So how, I was going to add to that. How do you deal? So what are your mechanisms for keeping yourself accountable so that you don't get distracted? Like I know, you know, like you've said, you use your term, you like to bloviate and talk along. When we get going, we could get going for ages. But you're very disciplined. So like what kind of mechanisms are you using to keep yourself accountable so that you have this level of productivity?
Having peer support, someone such as you.
Oops, we lost our meeting.
Whoa, what happened, man?
Well, welcome everyone back to the world of showbiz. Um, this is interesting. Hopefully, Nico will be there. Zoom just decided to arbitrarily close the meeting because I guess it was open for 45 minutes. Ironically, I have a paid subscription, so this shouldn't be happening.
Zoom, what's up with that, huh?
Yeah.
I had to take off my glasses. Actually, it was like, you know, getting a prognosis from a doctor. You got to tell me what's the problem here, Zoom.
Yeah, I'm going to be asking because I'm paid up till August 3rd. So it's
3 month, baby. That's what I'm talking.
Anyways, we apologize to the viewers. Welcome to the live show.
I'm glad to be back.
and hopefully they're still there and we didn't lose whoever might be watching live. So I wanted to go next to the question of
Gord, before we
sure,
jump
go ahead.
in there, I realize we're still kind of live without a wire. I don't know if you still want to press record on this because you usually record your Zoom thing. I just thought I would give that gentle reminder.
Yes, thank you.
Boom, there we go. Now we're live.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, Dale, you know, you work, like you said, sometimes till crazy hours. You're a night owl and all of that. So I know back in my days before I was dieting and taking care of my health better, I would fight, I call it brain fog because of my diet and things were not that great. What are you doing to maintain such energy and longevity in the hours you're able to work? Like how do you, what have you done to sort of help yourself be tuned that way? It's a health question.
Yeah. And I'm glad you this really leads into a lot of what I discuss in a lot of my health and fitness books. Plug. In any event, it's all about a lifestyle choice and how I live my life. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people think that I'm just like eating nothing but broccoli and frigging, you know, and brown rice. That's not it. I like to eat pizza as much as the next person does, but I'm very selective about what I put into my body. That's going to be the main component is the proper nutrition to fuel you to get the energy. And it's not about supplementation. I used to plug supplements. I'm telling you this right now. The only supplements I take are a B vitamin, which is great for energy, by the way. And I believe vitamin D because of the fact that I have a plant-based diet and I need to get that in. But other than that, though, that's it. So nutrition, exercise. You just must get exercise. You don't have to hit a gym to get exercise. My wife and I went out for about a half hour, 45 minutes yesterday and tossed the Frisbee. It's very physical. We were drenched in sweat by the time we got back. But find some way to stay active. And here's number 3, and the most often overlooked component. If you don't want to exercise and you don't want to eat right, that's your business. But here's the thing that's going to help you keep on your mental game, and you can really build that grit about you, that drive, that deep-seated passion is meditation. Meditation is exercise for the mind. I would rather skip a workout than skip a meditation session. And that really keeps me on point, and that keeps me grounded, and it keeps it to where my ego doesn't say, well, you don't deserve this and you deserve this. There's those two evils, and I don't want to ever think that there's any deserving on my part. So meditation keeps me grounded. It also keeps me a lot more level. I'm high energy, so obviously you can probably assume that I got a little bit of a short fuse at times.
Yeah.
So meditation, really, if there was anything I was going to tell people, is if you've got a big lofty goal, man, shoot for the stars, because you never know, you might land on the moon. You know, that's the thing is, so I'm always going to shoot for the stars, but in the same instance, I know I need to keep myself even keeled, and meditation is exactly where it's at. It's not new age. It's not holistic. It's literally exercise for the mind.
That's awesome. I do meditation myself, but not totally well disciplined every day. You know, a worst case scenario every other day. And I use this device called the Muse, and I see, like, when I sit down and start, like, you actually get some feedback of your brain waves after your session, and you know, usually takes me, when I sit down to do it, about 20 minutes before I've calmed myself down, and but it does work. And so I, you know, I want to explore more ways of doing that to help keep me balanced. And great suggestions there. How about you, Nico? What do you do to calm the mind, or you don't have that challenge?
I go running every day.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
That's when I get the best ideas, actually.
That's great. That's a
really
great exercise too.
I couldn't do without it anymore. My feet even hurt every day, because every day running is kind of a stress to the body, but you know, I need it.
Yeah, well, whatever hormone chemicals get released through the experience just help set up your day and get you, you know, revitalized and energetic to go. So I just have one last question I wanted to ask. So what's on the horizon for new experiments, given that you're this far into the challenge? So, like, you know, do you have other things that you're going to try to do? And like, you're adapting, I presume, some of the stuff as you go, Dale. It's not just about the raw numbers. You're learning from stuff, right? So what are some of the things you have in mind you might want to experiment with?
I still want to really break up the whole process. I know there are certain areas that I can still optimize the workflow. So that's going to always be an ongoing process. I'm always going to think, how can I do this better? In fact, I've been even talking to my assistant. Hi, Ava, if you're watching, she probably has the link to this. I'm trying to talk her into it, which she doesn't seem like she's, you know, she's definitely game for it, but I'm trying to talk her into possibly editing some of my videos so I can just send it over to her, because it's a template. I mean, there's A, B, C, D, E, F, and it's all in order, and really it's pretty simple when it comes down to it. So I'd like to probably consider that. I'm working on my an entire new course behind the scenes on DIY publishing, and it's going to be coaching, a group coaching environment, because I know that there's still a demand for that. And to a certain extent, I believe that there is a demand for how I present information versus the other coaching, because the unique value proposition, you know, you got to have that. Otherwise, it's like, well, why don't I just go see Mark Dawson? Why don't I just go see Chandler Bolt? Those guys are all great in what they do, but I'm going to tell you this, that there's nobody that can beat the passion that I have and the energy level. And I would put money on it that anybody on the market today in self-publishing can be able to match mine. That's not me trying to be cocky or arrogant. I just know it.
So are you trying to implement these things in through your challenge, like to adapt things for when you're going to be putting together more of that course material? Is that what you're saying in terms of the experimentation?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's going to end up, you know, because I mean, I'm already building a list off of the following there, because there is a lead magnet, actually 3 lead magnets in some of the older videos. So any event, those lead magnets are there. I've actually killed the links in the lead magnets most recently, because I want to try the last 25 days of this 50-day challenge without outbound links. I want to keep everything within the YouTube ethos, so people are continually going through all the YouTube channels. I need to make my first priority my first priority. My first priority is to get 2,000 subscribers. My first priority is not building an email list. So I need to kind of know what's my priority. So that right there, as soon as I can cross that 2K mark, And you're probably gonna say, why 2,000? Because 1,000, everybody say is like, yeah, as soon as you break 1,000, that's the measuring stick. That's great. I just want to double that. I literally, it's just a mental thing for me. I want, everybody's like 1,000. As soon as it's everything's easier from there. No. I know it's always going to be hard. But as soon as I can break 2K, that's where I can kind of feel like, a little bit more relief. And then I can hopefully by that point begin to implement some of building this coaching program and building something that's going to be worth following.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say worth following is, I'm getting myself away from all the gags and the fart jokes and things like that. And I'm building intense and extreme value with my audience. And at that point, people are going to be able to go, oh my Lord, he's got a coaching program. I got to check it out. There's no way around it. This guy is somebody I need to align myself with. And the other ones that don't, hey, that's great. All the more power to them. I probably don't speak to what they're looking for.
Right.
So that's my big thing on the horizon. I'm very excited about it.
That's
my
excellent.
next big step beyond that, I tell you, this will probably take the next 5 hours. You know me, man. It's like the man who chases 2 rabbits gets none. I've been chasing 4 rabbits, as you put it.
Yeah. I say compared
You
to
double it.
Yeah. So Dale, if you were to say 3 pieces of advice you would give to people that are looking to jump into a 30-day challenge next month, what would you say to inspire them so that they don't give up too easily? Or, you know what I mean? Like, what are the struggles that you might find that from your experience that you think would be good advice to share?
By the way, Dan just announced from Creator Fundamentals. He will do the challenge as well.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Nice.
Really, Dan, I look forward to see how that works out. It will be incredible.
Yeah, that's great. That's super.
For sure. All right. What was the question? That was
Three,
I was kind of excited for Dan. Way to go,
3
Dan.
pieces of advice you would give
Okay.
to people that are looking to step into the challenge so that they don't sort of lose the pursuit and the motivation too early, because they're going to come across some hurdles. So, like, what would you give them to help them with perspective in the way they try to get going?
There are 3 things. This is let's start with the main one here. You guys get a piece of paper and a pen and write this down, or you can even screen capture, video capture this.
It's all recorded for replay, Dale.
You replay it over and over. Gord loves replays.
But I learned to play replays at multiple speed thanks to you.
Yeah, 2x. You got to learn the Dale way. There's another optimized way of how I learn. So, any rate, 1 is comparison is the enemy of contentment. Remember that. Comparison is the enemy of contentment.
Love that.
You might be watching this and you might be thinking, I'm going to do it just how Dale does it. Okay. Or I'm going to do it 10 times as hard as Dale does it. Or, man, I'll never be able to do it like Dale does it. There's no way. Don't compare yourself to me. Okay. I don't want you to do that. Part of how I did this challenge was I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to push past some of this discomfort. I wanted to create a routine that I can kind of mold myself into. I based it on Brian G. Johnson's 30-day challenge, but I also based it on Alex Becker's 100-day challenge. This guy's doing video, a challenge for 100 days straight. He's actually missed a few days. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, I wonder if I could do that. But I'm not comparing myself to them. So if I don't measure up to their level, that's great. I'm measuring myself to myself.
Mm-hmm.
How am I doing today versus what I did yesterday? And how will I do tomorrow compared to what I do today? So remember that. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Number 2, learn to forgive yourself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to come a point where you're going to trip and you're going to fall and you're going to go, oh, darn it. Forget it. I quit. Don't quit. Never give up. Okay. If you really believe in what you're doing and it really identifies with your passion and how you feel about sharing your message with the world, then don't stop. Keep pushing forward. You're going to stumble. I promise you will. Because when you do stumble, just dust yourself off and just keep going. There's nothing wrong.
I've had a few
Lord
stumbles.
knows.
I've had a few stumbles.
Dude, let me tell you, within the last 37 days, I've had multiple stumbles. There's been times where I uploaded a video and I'm going, oh, I forgot to subscribe, call to action. Or, oh man, I didn't put the keywords here. Or then I'll notice, like, sometimes I'll cut off an entire word in a jump cut and I'll go.
Well, my favorite is when you've gone through the upload and you've put in all your keywords and everything, and then you realize when you're just about to click publish that you got to go back and add something to the video.
Yes, you've already filled out all the metadata for YouTube. You got
Yep.
the scheduling, you've got the social media posts ready to go with all the right hashtags, and then you go, I got a misspelling in one of those words. Gord,
And I'm
remember that
gonna
one?
fix it. Yep. Actually, I have one little Facebook video that I posted, and only
Yeah.
my sister caught the mistake. No one else has mentioned that there was a spelling mistake in there, and it's almost like it was what do you call it? Subliminal. Okay, the way it executed. So I was fine with it, but it's these things happen, right? Oh, and number three, I interrupted you there.
Number three would be peer support.
Ah,
Get some people that are like-minded, and also some people that will raise you to a higher standard, that hold you to a higher standard.
yeah.
It's not so important that you say, get a hold of grandma and go, hey, grandma, guess what? I'm doing a YouTube challenge. You're never going to do that. That's a bad idea. No. You need to be finding the Gords of the world. You need to be finding the Bryans of the world. You need to find the Nick Nimmons of the world. Hello, 50,000 subscribers. I try to, hang out with that guy as often as I can. So, I try to find the people and I try to gravitate towards them, and I try to, something I learned in the wrestling business is you close your mouth and keep your ears open. So that way, all you're doing is you ask questions and you listen and you try to apply some of that knowledge. And so that's really the third thing, is peer support and getting out there with some people that are about your success and you are reciprocal, and that saying, because I love to see Gord, I love to see when you're having wins. When I see you kicking butt and taking names, when I see you having uploads, which, by the way, love that recent volume one on Camtasia. Hello, it was perfect timing because I messed up my mic levels. There's another one where I was kicking myself. Like all last night, I had to do all the volume, leveling. And I was like, oh, the mic was off. Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, I know the surprises that can happen. Those were great tips.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dale. And now what I'd like to do to shift to the next stage, which is the cool stuff that Nico's going to show us, which is he put together a few of your well-performing videos from the last 30-day challenge. And if you can share with us, if you can recall any insights, we're putting you on the spot, that maybe you did something new or tried something, or you have a rationalization for it, or if you just did something different, because we want people to be able to see that you're going to have wins and losses through the cycle. So we're kind of looking at wins, but it may trigger you to give a comment about either way. So I'm going to pass to Nico if he could share his screen with us, and he's going to, and we can sort of talk over it. Nico can share, and we can just look at a few of these. We're going to look at 3 or 4 examples, and I hope everyone will find this interesting.
Oh yeah, I think from my perspective, a 30-day challenge is all about experimentation, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want to have every video successful. You want to try out different things and see what sticks, what really works well, so you can, in the end, go end this challenge and know what your audience really likes, right? And heck, you did a lot of experimentation. I mean, so many videos you did. Mm-hmm. And I picked those that stuck out the most. Let me share my screen. Here we go. I guess you can see my screen now.
It's all good.
Okay.
Yes.
Just for your information, for those who didn't see Morning Fame before, this is part of a report where it analyzes if the video was a step up for your channel. So what you see here is one of Dale's videos, and the first bubble tells overall whether the video was a step up for your channel. The green check says, yes, it was a step up, so it's a good idea to do more of those. And this bubble is kind of a sum of those to the right. Views, in this case, it was not a step up for the channel, but it was close to be average performing. Good watch time, step up. Good engagement, step up. Engagement rate as well. And it was very good in gaining new subscribers. So, all right, maybe then you can tell something about this video. It was CreateSpace, a platform where you can publish ebooks. Why do you think this worked so well? It's like a really good result.
I think it's a very niche driven portion of self-publishing. A lot of people are really focused on Kindle publishing. So it's a very noisy environment, and self-publishing in general on YouTube. I know that right now, a great majority of my income through self-publishing comes through CreateSpace. So I was like, I can step forward as the authority inside this particular area. So I think why this one became so successful was I offered something that was uniquely different from other people within the market. The thumbnail, the thumbnail to me possibly could be something that started because I'm starting to kind of hit a stride on getting some branded style thumbnails. But overall, gosh, it's about a 5-minute video at 317. I'd have to go back in and see what's happening about the 66% mark, between the minute surrounding that, and figure out what kind of verbiage am I using that might getting the disconnect. Because I was discovering too on some of my older videos, one of my videos I said in summary one time, and there were still 2 minutes beyond that, but it had a drastic drop time because people thought, oh, in summary, he's done, click done, they're off. So wording makes all the difference. So I bet you how much there's probably something, either I was getting too boring, I was going too long-winded on a topic, or I might have said some kind of like a word that might have said to them, let's go ahead and shut off.
Cool.
Oh, I would say it's already quite good for 3 minutes, 17 seconds.
Yeah.
Hard to get, I would say. I struggle with that. But you're right. For the audience retention, there is, if the wording somehow sounds the video is ending, people immediately look at other things. But
yeah, can I add something in there, Nico? I just going to say, what I've discovered, I'm just going to add an element of my experience is sometimes I give too much information on a particular detail point, and that's what can trigger them to leave. So I may have done other elements in a nice, concise one after another, and then I just decided to go deeper on one, and that can trigger their departure.
That I experienced on my channel as well. Just last week, I did a whole analysis of all my advice videos, and too much information is also a bummer.
And the funniest thing, as an artist, you feel like it's the best part of the video. That content you think is the best part of the quality, the delivery, and it turns out that's not what the audience wanted. You learn from them, right?
Yeah. I think, this was really valuable, I think, this video, appreciated by the audience. Let's look at the next one. Kindle publishing loophole, like really clickbaity.
Yeah.
And you can see that in the views, like it got a medal, really successful.
Right. That one took off a little bit more than I had thought. It was actually inspired by one of my peers, Emeka Osai. Emeka actually got onto one of the videos, and he was talking about another loophole of some sort. And man, he got lit, and it inspired me. I was like, you know what makes me really angry? What gets my goat? And that's what made this video. And literally, I'm telling you this, I'm kind of surprised the average watch time. We'll probably have to go in and look at the average watch time once again, kind of study why people dropped off. Bet you how much at that 2 minutes and 46 seconds, right around there, was when I started spitting venom. That's where probably people start cutting off, because I get ugly. I get an ugly face, I put on my ugly face and I get kind of mean and such. But yeah, you're right. It's a hot topic in the self-publishing industry. There are some people that do this particular method and make quite an insane lucrative living. But the problem is, it's the short-term earnings, and this is what I share within the video. So, I'm not sure. I'm trying to see likes versus dislikes, because I might have quite a few dislikes on this particular video as well.
Can I
remember? Yeah,
Nico, I was just going to add. There's an interesting observation that I see here, and we talked about this yesterday. His average watch time, by any stretch, 67% is amazing, and I know a lot of that. As our videos get longer, it's harder to get those higher percentages. So when you sit here and you say, oh, I'd love to have higher percentage than that, it's still a good average watch time from a percentage standpoint. It just you get more absolute or more total watch time on longer videos. So it's interesting playing the percentage game versus the absolute time game. Do you want to shed a little more light on that, Nico, for everyone?
Yeah, it's really a good question whether you should focus on the percentage or the absolute watch time. And of course, short videos can't get a lot of absolute watch time. But here's the thing. It's easy to get a high percentage for short videos, and it's difficult to get a high percentage for long videos. Mm-hmm. But in any way, what YouTube is looking into is not actually the percentage. That it's more like if you do similar length videos, it's for you personally like a measuring stick. But if you want to think about the YouTube algorithm and how to improve your videos in order to rank higher in the long run and all that stuff, then you have to think about how many minutes watched you can accumulate. And that's first and foremost the watch time of an individual video on average, each viewer watches, mm-hmm. as well as how many views you get. So views times the minutes watched on average on a video is the total minutes watched, accumulated watch time, so to say. And that is what matters. And in this case, Dale, you did better for the minutes watched on the videos in other videos. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason why it's not marked as a green check or something like that. But it's really, you have to see, like, you have to make a balance between how many minutes watched you get on an individual, from an individual viewer, mm-hmm. With how many views you get in total. So if you have a video that is having 1,000 views, but only on average 1 minute watched per view, that's mm-hmm. still better because that's 1,000 minutes watched total, than a video that only gets 100 views, but 5 minutes watched. That's 500 minutes watched total, right?
Interesting.
So it's a balance you have to do there, and up to your personal preferences, I would say, which strategy you go. More shorter videos, more views, or longer videos, less views. What you can achieve.
I think we would all, through practice and through doing things like the challenge, find what our sweet spot might be in general, right? But again, it could be as simple as you chose a topic that was like really micro niched and it was hard to find an audience for it, right? So there are a lot of variables involved, right?
Oh yeah, true. That's kind of a card house. Can you say like this? If house you get a video mm-hmm. with many views, maybe the engagement is very low, or you get one with high watch time, but still you don't gain subscribers. Like there, your inspiration comes in, and try to make sense of it all and try to find the best combination of the factors: topic, way of editing, way of asking questions so people get engaged, mm-hmm. call to action. I mean, it's a creative space, right?
Exactly. I love that, the way you ended that there, that point. It's a creative space. So much involved. And how's this next video? You have another couple, right?
Yeah, yeah. Here, this is quite an interesting one. This was a collaboration, right, Dale? And this was particularly successful in watch time.
Yeah.
So this is an example. Wait, Nico. So 633 from an individual absolute watch time is huge, and 99 views is pretty good. But if you look at the length of the video, it's 31:44. So you're saying YouTube isn't so interested per se about the total length of the video. It's what these numbers multiply out to in terms of accumulated or total watch time, right?
Interesting.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. You also have to balance is with the users, right? If they drop off too early, maybe the experience by the user was not perfect. Mm-hmm. But it depends, you know. I started to watch this video, and the first 6 minutes in particular, already provided a lot of value. So the experience, I guess, in this case was really good for your viewers.
Yeah.
And definitely for YouTube. You have 99 views times 6.5 minutes. Let's take the calculator. If my 6.5 times 99, you got 650 minutes watched, which is really successful and goes into your channel authority of your channel. So it gives you more ranking power for your future videos, certainly.
So in looking at this,
yeah, I've
Dale,
noticed some success with these particular videos here.
Yeah.
These are like interviews, and this was one of the reasons why I called on Rob. And actually, I've got one coming up this next week with Tim Knox. Is I've noticed that my interview videos are in my top 10 every single time because they're about a half hour to an hour long, and people are staying on a little longer. So now this is why it makes sense why Amazon, or not Amazon, we'll talk about the wrong business. YouTube goes and says, these are your top 10 videos. And I'm like going, but they only watch 6 minutes of 30 minutes. I was thinking it was always about, you know, that percentage, but it's not the percentage you're saying. It's actually a cumulative between views and minutes that actually counts the most.
Right. That's great.
Awesome. I have
so this is a perfect
last example.
Yeah. So Nico, this is a perfect example of people having that they should experiment in their 30-day challenge, right? So why not try and do an interview? You know what I mean? Like maybe mix a few interviews in your experience and see how you perform. And they don't necessarily have to be a half an hour interview. They can be, you know, hey, I'm teamed up here with Nico and Dale, and we're going to share 4 points on how to kick off your challenge next month. And it can be focused down.
Absolutely.
And you can still achieve something, you know, in a tight window, and just, you know, just sharing ideas there. Oh.
Yeah, that's the purpose of a challenge, I would say, right? I mean, it's about experimentation and try different formats, see how it works. And in particular, I like Dale, I mean, collaborations are so important on YouTube. It's really worth trying out to see how you can work with people together. And I think this is a good thing that you did that. And I'm excited to see your next collaboration.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have a fourth example that stuck out. Audiobook alternatives worked really well in terms of watch time. That means even though you didn't get many viewers for that one, those viewers you got really enjoyed it. And I think because it's kind of a hassle to, if you have a book, right? Many people want an audiobook on top of that, but this is extra effort, right? And I think that you delivered real value in here.
Yeah. To speak on this one right here, actually I got this idea once again from Wrestle Talk. Ollie Davis, one of the things he does is he goes real-time news reporting. So he'll be talking about, say, Monday Night Raw that just happened last night. He's already talking about it as soon as it's happened. So with this particular one, it was fairly fresh news. It was about a week old that I launched it out. Here's the cool thing is what I did is I launched out, it's a semi-collaboration, kind of not really agreed upon on the other person's part. It was Drafted Digital, it's a publishing company. What I did was when I fired it off onto social media, I put @Drafted Digital. Little did I know they were paying attention. So they went and they retweeted it and they shared it out. So that's probably where some of those views came. I would have thought it would have been a little bit better, but who knows? But we can see that whatever I was providing kept people compelled and staying on here. I'm pretty proud of this one right here because they only stopped about a minute short, and probably about 20 seconds of that is that cold end screen because this is the old method.
So that's a pretty interesting tactic to keep you know, abreast of trends and then sharing the idea pretty quickly after it becomes newsworthy.
Yeah, and get it while it's hot.
Yeah, and if it's in your industry or your niche focus, that's a great idea. And you know what? There's probably, you know, supply of that kind of stuff pretty readily. And you know, you just need to subscribe to the right kind of sources for information.
Absolutely. I'm very happy with this one, actually. I'm glad you brought this one up. the views, I'm kind of like, I see the Z's on it. I'm going, oh.
Yeah, one thing that I think is very important if you look at analytics. You can't get everything right, but here in this statistics, there is a clear message here. First, you have very high watch time, which means that your viewers really enjoyed it. It was valuable. Watch time is equal value, you can say. And the engagement is the bubble to the right is also easy because you don't got many views. But for that reason, we have engagement rate here. That means those people who watched it engaged in a high rate. The potential, if this video were to get more views, the potential to get a lot of engagement is very high. Therefore, you have the screen check for engagement rate here, as well as you have a medal for gained subscribers. That is a clear sign that people really enjoyed it. So sometimes if you try out a new video, it's not really clear whether this is a huge success or not, right? And usually the big successes you easily see. But sometimes there is something that didn't rise really high above, but it shows a clear message, man, there is value here. This is a good example for that. And a good thing to build upon, like do more of this kind of videos.
Yeah, I was just going to add that. So this was an experiment from what we're hearing, Dale, the way you described it, because it was taken off something like that. So obviously people love the way you report on it and explain the potential of using these kinds of things. So they're all ears, which is great.
Yeah, I anticipate that that's probably, if you were even asking what I plan on doing, I plan on implementing more news-based information to where people can see exactly what's going on a real-time basis. That way it gets it to where it's like, for me, and I'm going to keep saying it, Wrestle Talk, to me, I'm like, he's real time. I instantly, I have notifications on, and I almost always catch it as soon as it comes out, because I know that this guy's got some hot news and I don't want to miss out on it. So I'm thinking I want to make myself the same way in this business, to where I provide that information and people are excited that they're not like, oh, I'm going to watch later. Everybody knows what happens to the watch later videos. It goes into a pile you never watch.
well, maybe you make this a feature, you know what I mean? And sort of, let your audience know that you're going to be doing that kind of thing as well, like announce it. And when you start to feature those kinds of things, that they're going to be a feature of your channel, sort of like a Roberto Blake, who services all kinds of different markets in the creative space. He has days where he's dedicated to certain themes, right? So it's just an idea, conceptually. I want to interrupt because we're near the end, and Zoom, which shouldn't be doing this to me, has put in a time limit on our situation. So I need to
Zoom, what are you doing?
Okay. So we have 4 minutes left, and what I wanted to do with part of that time left was first to say, I hope, we'd love to hear your feedback, whether it's those of you now that are live or anybody in the replay. Tell us, did you enjoy this? Did you want to hear more about how people are experiencing their journey when they do challenges, and getting some other statistical information shown and talked about, like Nico provided here with us today, and Dale giving his experience? We'd love to hear from you about that, because I really enjoy it, because I learned a few things here that I thought were really cool, like we've discussed since Nico brought up those examples, and I think even Dale got a little more insight too, right? Exactly. So I think that's great. And Nico, do you have any questions there before, we have just a couple of 3 minutes left, and unfortunately we're going to be expiring at the limit there.
Ness just asked about whether Morning Fame works well with TubeBuddy. Absolutely. Those tools are quite different. They have a little bit of overlap, but they work well together. So feel free to use both.
Yeah, and the links are going to be there as well. We're going to supply the links to
post a free invitation. I can't do this right now because I can't post links.
Yeah, we're going to do it after.
But
after. I'll update it
in the description. Yeah.
So it also brings me to the point that we're going to be adding links as well for the few challenges that we're aware of that are going on in August, so that people want to get inspired and click that button and go. And that's there at the video, as well as information on where to find out what all of us are doing. And in closing, well, first of all, did you guys have anything else you wanted to add before I say how can we find you, Dale, and where should we look? And likewise, Nico. We're good. Okay, so
believe it or not, I'm at a loss for words.
Okay. You expended all that passion earlier. We got it all out. We drained.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that's super. So Dale, where's the best place to reach you? Where would you recommend people?
You guys can find me over at selfpublishingwithdale.com, or you can even go find me on YouTube at Self Publishing with Dale L. Roberts.
Okay. And Nico?
Awesome. Yeah. Not much to say. Morning fame, like afternoon, morning, right? Fame, like famous. One word, morning fame. You see that in the comments. I'm glad to see you there. I give YouTube advice, like Gord does. It was really great to talk to you, man. Really fun.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Your time, both of you.
Really enjoyed it, and we hope to hear some good feedback, and we'll decide if we're going to do more of these in the future and share some interesting insights. And thank you very much, everyone, whether you're live or watching in a replay, for joining us. And we look forward to doing more of these in the future. Take care.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye. So let's